G'day, I'm Paul Murray. Happy Sunday night. Thank you so much for watching us in the start of a brand new week here on Paul Murray Live. A show where, if you've never seen it before, nobody pulls their punches. We'll tell you what's really going on in the world. And most importantly, we'll hear from you. The hashtag is PM Live. Email pmlive@skynews.com.au and see your comments on the bottom of the telly. Just go searching for Paul Murray Live on Facebook. A couple of things worth talking about tonight in the area of schools and education funding. Now, it has been well known that Australia is falling well and truly behind the mark with other parts of the world. Hence why there's been this long conversation about Gonski reforms and billions of dollars that needed to be thrown into our education system. And today the Prime Minister stands up and has miraculously found the best part of, $14 billion that will be going into our school system. But then again, she hasn't actually found the $14 billion. For every $1 that the state government is somehow able to find down the back of its couch that it hasn't been able to find to this point, they will miraculously find an extra $2, and thus we get to the $14 billion. Sounds like a nice big number, right? Only problem is it's over 6 years. So once we start talking about the real numbers here, it's the best part of a couple of $1 billion? And even then, despite all of the debate, despite all of the conversation about this, what exactly is the money for? Constantly we hear state and federal governments say that they're spending X billion or Y billion on things like the school system or the health system. What exactly will this money be spent on? If the state governments have to turn around and take money off police, off hospitals, off other parts of their government, what exactly is it for? Is it for more technology? Well, as has been proven by the laptop program, while it was very successful for a little while, a couple of years later, we've spent $2 billion on pieces of technology that are now too old and too heavy for kids to carry around. Do we spend it on greater facilities for the kids? Well, hang on, that's the whole building education revolution all over again, where people had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars over and above the real cost of things like shade cloth, things like school halls, things like classrooms being redeveloped. Is it for more teachers? Well, that hasn't been suggested by the Prime Minister. What exactly is the extra money for? And why is every single solution to our education system have to be linked with money? Why isn't there some sort of an innovative conversation about better teacher training? What about guaranteeing that the teachers have greater powers of discipline over their classes, that they can actually compel the kids to do the damn work in the first place, not create a scenario where as soon as a kid wants to, they can bring on a fight with the teacher and then go and complain about them to the head of school. And that becomes a whole issue not to do with education, but excuse-making for kids. Now, I don't know if this is the requisite $14 billion that will turn us into an A-grade education system, then fine, I can be won over on it. But remember, this is one of those deals not unlike the media laws, where the federal government have turned around and have said to no one that this was coming. We knew for a while there was a thing called Gonski, but as the state premiers have shown us today, the Prime Minister nor Education Minister even bothered to pick the phone up and ring any of the counterparts who now have to try and find billions of dollars down the back of the couch. Billions of dollars that particularly in places like Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, they will be struggling to find it. Colin Barnett put it beautifully when he said, why would we enter into a 6-year funding arrangement with a government that's effectively in caretaker mode? They got 5 months before an election, and there isn't a person outside of the hardcore Labor Party who doesn't think there's going to be a change of government. The question is, by what margin will Tony Abbott's majority be? So, OK, I get it. What this is about is trying to yet again cast the Prime Minister as being the lady in favour of the NBN, the lady in favour of the better education system. I'm all about looking forward, not looking back. The problem is the Australian people have been left in this Prime Minister's wake. One by one by one, and now by their millions, just pulling up stumps saying, no more. I don't believe you. I don't believe what all this is about. So think about it in this context. Despite the fact that the headline says $14 and a bit billion, well, it's only 2/3 funded by the federal government, and it's really over 6 years. So the money is not as impressive as the announcement would first make it look, despite the fact that the state governments need to sign off on the deal for the money to be triggered by the federal government. They weren't told about it until today, when they read about it in the newspaper, when they saw it here on Sky News. How serious is the Prime Minister about reforming school education, when today no major announcements about teacher training, no major announcements about what actually happens between the first and last school bell of the day? It's just money, money, money. And it's money that's ours. Keen to know what you think. The hashtag PM Live, email pmlive@skynews.com.au.